Welcome, dear brothers, to those who follow the work of this team daily, and to those who join us today. We want to talk about the shocking conversion of Nikki Kinsley, who abandoned her religion and her previous life to proclaim that Jesus Christ is the truth. Today, she talks and writes about her experiences, like so many others who have gone through very strong conversions and have had shocking supernatural encounters. For example, in this case, a ray emerged from a crucifix and pierced her, and its light made her understand everything. Nikki says that something is happening, and not only does she feel it, but she also provides us with information here. We will discuss how the supernatural events that caused Nikki Kinsley's conversion occurred, how the Virgin Mary was guiding her to her son, and why she says that something significant is happening. We want to remind you to subscribe to this channel by activating the bell, and on screen, you will see how to collaborate with our mission on Patreon and also on YouTube, so that this Catholic team of the Americas can continue financing their research, which you will not find on another channel. Now, the current writer and speaker, Nikki Kinsley, was born in Pakistan. Although her family was Muslim, she did not wear a hijab or pray 5 times a day. They were cultural Muslims. While they believed in Allah, that Muhammad was the last prophet, and that Islam was the truth, when she reached the age of 16, her marriage was arranged with a man 10 years older. In Islamic culture, you live with your in-laws. Her mother-in-law was a devout Muslim, and she also became a very devout Muslim by living with her because she says she followed all the rules to please her. In the Quran, there is a chapter dedicated to the Virgin Mary called the Surah of Maryam. Maryam is presented as the mother of the Prophet Isa, Jesus, in Islam, but is not considered the Son of God. When Nikki found that chapter, she was amazed by the beauty of the woman she described and began to read it every day. Then, her husband had to move to the United Arab Emirates, and she had more freedom there. However, life with her husband was still unbearable. Thanks to her father, she was able to escape to the United States where he had relatives and obtained a work visa. However, her life in the United States was spent among Muslims, and she became even more devout to Islam. She read the Quran, prayed, fasted, and fulfilled everything to the letter. Instead of begging Allah, she began to ask him to show her who he truly was. She had a burning desire to meet him. One year during spring break, she went with her children to New York, where one of the attractions is St. Patrick's Cathedral. She entered there, although with fear of reprobation. The first thing she saw was a stained glass window with the face of Jesus hanging in front, and when she looked at it, she felt that he was alive, as if he were looking at her. His eyes seemed to pierce her and see directly into her soul, and she felt that they were following her. As she was about to leave, she heard a sweet and soft whisper from a woman telling her to come back. She looked around, but there was no one. When she heard it for the second time, she immediately knew it was Mary who was speaking to her. Another day, in the first week of December, she was deeply asleep when she felt someone touching her gently. In that state between sleep and wakefulness, she saw Jesus and Mary at her bedside. They prayed together and spoke to her about their life. However, after having her first cup of coffee, she began to think that it had all been a dream. Although something inside her told her that it had been real, and in reality, she physically felt different. And from that moment on, everything began to change. When he drove to work on the same route as always, he began to notice all the churches along the way as if he had never seen them before. She began to have more dreams and visions, and in them, Jesus or Mary spoke to her. However, the Jesus presented to her in these dreams was not the Jesus of Islam. It happened that a coworker invited her to her Catholic church, and she decided to go to talk to Jesus. But when she entered, even though there was no one there, she felt his presence and thought, "This is his home. I can feel it here." She said, "Jesus, I have found you. Now you're going to tell me what you want from me. And this is going to end. I don't want any more dreams or visions." From that day on, she began to go to the empty Catholic church every morning. However, she said in a tone of resistance to the crucifix, "You are not the Son of God. Why are you doing this to me? Leave me alone." One day, she came in as usual, sat down, and began her discussion with him. Suddenly, a voice echoed throughout the place, saying, "Who are you to tell me who I can be and who I cannot be? If you truly want to know the truth, come back like a little girl, and I will tell you the truth." It was a powerful voice, like a father speaking to a son. Immediately, she felt as if a ray of light came out of the crucifix and pierced her heart. A light ran through her whole body. She began to cry inconsolably, and the only thing she could say was, "I believe. I believe you are the Son of God. I believe." In that moment, she felt as if all knowledge was instantly melted away. The truth was before her, and the truth was a person. Then, she heard God the Father say to her, "I have waited so much for you." After that day, it was like being a newborn baby. Everything seemed new to her. She could see the world in a completely different way. From that moment on, she dared to call herself a Christian. She couldn't do anything else because now she knew the truth, and if she didn't live according to the truth, she would be living a lie. Then, she and her children were baptized and entered the church. Her younger sisters also converted, and her father, before he passed away, began to have encounters with Jesus. There were many graces that flowed in her family. Yiki says that she has seen that Jesus is intervening directly in the hearts of Muslims, especially through dreams and visions. Once, she had a vision of a group of people covered by a great darkness. She understood that they were Muslims. But what impacted her most was the immense love that the Virgin Mary had for them. It was a love so strong that it made her fall to the ground. Nikki says that the Virgin of Fatima being named after the daughter of Muhammad is not a coincidence. Nothing is random. She believes there is a bigger plan in motion, which is corroborated by priests and pastors who work in Muslim areas. Curiously, the headquarters of the Ismaili denomination of Islam, to which her family belonged, moved from France to Lisbon in Portugal, and there are more and more Muslims moving to Lisbon near Fatima. Well, that's all we wanted to talk about regarding the supernatural events that led Nikki Kinsley from Islam to Christianity, and why she says that something big is happening now. If you liked what we told and analyzed, please like this video and please share it with your friends. Leave us your comment on what you think about the subject. And I would like to ask you, How was your conversion? And if you had some supernatural events in your life that were directed towards Jesus Christ or not.